Ned Kelly and the Green Sash. Story by Mark Greenwood, illustrations by Fran Lesac. I do not pretend that I have led to a blameless life, or that one fault justified another, but the public, judging a case like mine, should remember that the darkest life may have a bright side, and after the worst has been said against a man, he may, if he is heard, tell a story in his own rough way. Condemned cell, Melbourne Jail, November 1880. I was raised on the banks of a winter creek. Home was a ramshackle hut with a bark roof and dirt floor. My family kept cows on a rented farm and battled to scrape a living. To earn a few shillings, we sold milk and butter on the overland track where coaches carted gold from the diggings. My father was a convict who could ill afford another brush with the law, and my uncles and cousins were no strangers to crime. I soon learned the tricks of their trade, a chook here, a pig there, a chestnut mare hidden among the river gums until a reward was offered. The trap said we were Irish riffraff, drawn to trouble like maggots to a summer's day. Those big-bellied unicorns showed no pity for our misfortune. If you knew how we suffered, you would say our clan could not be blamed for stealing from wealthy squatters. Each day I took a shortcut to school following the crooked path of Hughes Creek. After soaking rain, the track was so rotten it could bog a duck, but I always arrived before the bell to avoid the leather strap. One morning I spied a classmate balanced on a branch that spanned the creek. Richard Shelton was fishing for his hat with a stick. I hollered out, but he slipped and vanished in the rapids. I made a sign of the cross and waded into water so icy cold it stole my breath. Kicking and splashing, fighting the power of the flood, I swam out to the drowning boy and dragged him free from a tangle of snags. The current swept us downstream to an elbow in the creek. I snatched a branch and wrenched Richard Shelton into the bulrushes. He coughed up muck when I squeezed his chest, and then he bawled for his mother. Mrs. Shelton made a mighty fuss when she recognised the limp form clinging to my back. She ushered us inside the Royal Mail Hotel. I soaked in a steaming tub until my skin wrinkled. When I was dry, Mrs. Shelton seated me beside a crackling fire. "You're an angel," she whispered. Instead of damper and dripping, I feasted on tasty pork steaks and fried eggs. That evening, a buggy pulled up outside our hut. It was Mr. Shelton. "You're a plucky lad for saving my son," he said. I was rewarded with a hero sash. It was made of green silk with gold bullion fringes that glinted in the firelight. "Wear it with pride," he said, "as an emblem of your courage." Ma said it was the grandest sash she'd ever seen. I was the proudest boy the sun ever shone on when father tied it around my waist. "It's shamrock green," he said, "the colour of Ireland." I turned 12 the following summer when drought turned paddocks to dust. Our misery was made worse when traps arrested father for duffing a stray calf. A cramped prison and a dose of dropsy drove him to an early grave. Packed in a bullock wagon, we travelled north to be closer to our clan. At our new hut on 11 Mile Creek, I received my first lessons in bushranging. Harry Power acquainted me with his hideouts in the mountains, and together we led a reckless life. The cunning old fox bailed up stagecoaches and robbed the rich while I steadied horses for a quick getaway. The forces of the law plotted against me, and I got used to the pinch of iron shackles. After 3 years in the dungeons of Pentridge, I returned home and split timber for fencing. But I was blamed for stealing cattle and horses. Everyone looked upon me as if I were a black snake. Traps ransacked our home, upsetting dishes, breaking eggs, emptying flour from casks. Those fat-necked unicorns insulted my mother and frightened my sisters. Such cruel conduct made my blood boil. I gave them fair warning. If they kept it up, I'd give them something to talk about. I do not wish to win a word of pity, but I ask that my story be heard and considered. Let the hand of the law strike me down if it will. I don't care. My character could not be painted blacker, but my conscience is clear. Circumstances forced us to become outlaws. We were desperate men compelled to defend ourselves. At a place only known to a few, we worked with hammer and fire. Helmets and breastplates fashioned from ploughs were shaped over logs stripped of bark. We traced charcoal bullseyes on trees and practiced for battle with revolver and rifle. Beyond the station at Glenrowan, a length of rail was levered off the track. My intention was the speedy dispatch to Kingdom Come of a train full of wombat-headed, magpie-legged, splay-footed officers of justice. We bailed the townsfolk into a rickety inn. In the parlour we sang rebel songs and danced to the music of a concertina. I stared into the darkness and waited for the train to come rolling around the bend. After midnight, I allowed the schoolmaster to go home. I warned him not to dream too loud, but he betrayed my trust. Down the track, he waved a candle behind a red scarf. I heard the squeal of locomotive brakes. The train shuddered to a standstill. Traps crawled out of the carriages like angry bull ants and quickly surrounded the inn. We donned our suits of iron and stood side by side, rifles leveled to our shoulders. "Fire away!" I roared. "You can't hurt us." The first volley of bullets riddled weatherboards and showered hostages with shards of glass. A ball of lead ripped through my elbow. A second passed from toe to heel. The rest of the gang retreated into the darkened shanty. Faint from loss of blood, I limped across a paddock behind the inn and passed the night on frosted ground. I roused at daybreak and hobbled through the curling mist, determined not to desert my mates. I rapped on my ironclad breast with the butt of my revolver. "Fire away, you snakes and toads," I cursed. A barrage of lead sparked off my armour. I lurched from tree to tree, returning fire with a pistol cradled over my shattered arm. The traps aimed at my legs. I buckled with the force of each shotgun blast. "I'm done," I cried, and the weight of armour dragged me to my knees. My eyes were swollen by bullets that had slammed into my helmet. My feet were numb, my hands peppered with lead. A doctor unbuckled the leather straps and forced apart 2 plates of iron. I ran my bloody fingers through the silk sash wrapped around my waist. Once it was an emblem of courage, proof even my dark life had a bright side. After the worst has been said against a man, he may, if he is heard, tell a story in his own rough way that may lead the public to soften their harsh thoughts about him. I need no lead or powder to revenge my cause if words be louder. Such is life.